if we haven't been selling product, that's not being built, all the new Canadians that are coming to Canada that want to live in the Greater Toronto area, they're going to have no roof over their head. They're going to have no place to go.
Yeah.
The new product has been the rental product.
Yeah.
That is, so if you're new to Canada or you're new to the area and you've moved to Toronto and you want a roof over your head, you arguably rent first before you buy. That product is not going to exist.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. That's a problem.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the Real Talk. Today we got Jeff Slightham, head of the pre-con at Royal LePage Signature, with us.
Great to be here.
I know a lot of you guys have been wondering what's going on with the pre-con because, the real estate market is no joke that it's slowed down, and the pre-con world as well, because there was some data on the news about how their sales have dropped down. So we're going to talk about what's going on in the pre-con world, how the pricing in pre-con world is, and where the deals are, what are the incentives some builders are offering, and why should one purchase pre-con. So let's start with what's happening in pre-con, because
it has been slow. I think when you hit this, we're just obviously coming in well into the fall market now. We're seeing things pick up again. Anytime over the summer months, you're going to see some, our market is very seasonal. Right, so in the summer months, people are taking their holidays. They're not thinking long term. They're not thinking, hey, how can I grow my net worth? So they'll look kind of later on when people are back in business, back in the work mode, kids back in school, all that kind of great stuff. We're seeing things now, a little more interest in the pre-con world as people get more engaged back in the marketplace.
Good, yeah. So, that's normal because August is always slow.
Yes.
How many launches do you think there's going to be going forward?
Good question. That's been
in fall and winter.
This fall, I think it's got to be a record. There's going to be approximately 30 to 40 new projects launched this fall. As a brokerage, we're going to focus on not all 30 to 40 of them. That's just too many. But we're going to narrow the search down to the best and the brightest projects that are in the pipeline.
So that is actually a good point because I know you guys handpick the projects, and then as a team also handpick the projects because there's way too many projects getting launched, and not necessarily all of them, in my opinion, if as an investor you're looking, would worth investing unless
Even as an end user or investor, some of them just don't make sense financially. The numbers, developers at the end of the day, they're in it to generate revenue. They need to make sure they maintain their margins. They have investors and everything else. And sometimes the numbers, unfortunately, just don't work. And so sometimes their pricing model prices them to a point where there's not as many interested buyers.
I'm not going to lie, because in the last, what was it, pre-COVID probably, I saw a bunch of launches and I saw the prices and I'm like, oh my God, what's going on?
Yeah.
And those launches are right now in occupancy, and I'm seeing, I don't know how people bought these condos at these prices, but it's not even there, the prices.
No, this is it. And so there is that discretion right now where clients have bought 3-4 years ago, they're closing now, and what they bought for 3-4 years ago, they haven't caught up the pricing, because when you buy new construction, you're buying future value. That the future value hasn't caught up to today's value.
So what happens if they don't get the value? They got to come up with the difference.
They have to come up with the difference. Yeah. You got it. You got to have the cash.
Yeah, it's crazy because I'm happy we didn't work on a few of them, because I'm seeing so many assignments out that even at the original purchase price, you can't even get it.
No, this is it. I think when clients bought originally, I'm hoping they had that education to say, look, you are buying future value. Their realtor that they're working with has explained it to them, you are purchasing future value. You will have to appraise in order to get a full, the full value of the mortgage, right? So that you hope to have those conversations. But at the end of the day, if you can close, I never want to see clients hand back over any real estate. Even though it's a lot of pressure right now, over the long term of ownership of real estate, you are going to see an outcome that you are going to enjoy much later on. That's just the nature of the beast when it comes to real estate.
So you got to be able to just hold on to it, because I always say to our client, if you're buying, don't look at assigning it before closing, because if you're buying with that mentality, if the market is what it is right now, then that's it. You can't even close and you're going to lose your money.
Exactly. And there was a lot of clients, I think, that got in with that mentality. Say, it's okay, I'm going to sign in a few years. I'm going to make a quick buck, so to speak. but not planning to have any kind of shift in the marketplace, not planning to having rates go up 4 times.
No one saw that.
Nobody saw that. No, it's hard to predict that.
Yeah.
And we're, again, to touch on rates a little bit, and it's a bit of a hot topic, I think to think that rates were at a variable rate at 1.5, 2 points, thinking that's normal, that's not normal, right? The rate environment we're in now, where you're seeing rates in around that 4 to 6%, call it, that's normal. The rate environment of 1.5 to 2 points, that is not a normal market. And it drives me a little crazy when you hear it in the news to say, oh, will it ever get back to normal? Well, what's normal? 3? No. 4 to 6 points is a normal market.
Thank you. Because I always said, because people are like, oh, like the interest rate is going to go down. I'm like, okay, let's just step back. What is it going to go back to? It's not going to go back to 1.5,
No.
2%. Like, I mean, what happened
Even
with
if
COVID?
it comes off 20 to 30%, right? That's not. You're going to get back into that 4.5 to 5.5 range, right? So that is a normal market. Now, it is based on where we were and where we are now. It is going to take time for people to adjust, and so unfortunately, with new construction, you don't have that time to adjust. If you've got to close, at whatever the rates are that day.
Yeah.
And that's where people are feeling the pain right now.
And that's the good point. Would that be one of the benefits why you would want to purchase pre-con right now? So that you're not getting a mortgage in this rate environment, and it's probably going to be 4 years down the road. No one knows what's going to happen. It could be worse than this right now, but would that be a benefit of, let's say, either buying an assignment that's closing in a year, or just investing in pre-con if you don't want to carry a mortgage?
It's a great point. So what is the right plan of attack? Anytime there's a shift in the market or any kind of uncertainty right now, or call it a bit of it's hard to call it, it's funny, in a slowdown in pre-construction, when there's so much inventory flooding the market, there's arguably too much. There's too much choice out there, right? So when there's too much choice, there's too many units out there, prices have adjusted, developers now are sharpening their pencil, their margins are getting much tighter, they understand they've got to get this product to market. Yeah. The governments are pressuring these developers to get their product to market because of such a housing shortage we have. Yeah. And that's the motivation. If clients don't buy, if people don't buy this real estate, it doesn't get built, right? And herein lies such a huge opportunity. If projects aren't going to get built, the key is to align yourself with a project that will get completed with the right developer who is going to build that project. And it's going to be done in due time, because in 3 to 4 years' time, with this bit of a blip that we've had where they're not selling, which means they're not going to be building eminently, it's going to delay the delivery of so many projects and, quite frankly, delay new product to market. And all of a sudden, you think we have a housing problem and a shortage now? Just wait.
Yeah.
Just wait 3 to 4 years from now, because the pipeline is 3 to 4 years to deliver the product.
Yeah.
Right. So we had this big rush up until about now, maybe to the end of next year in terms of deliveries. But what about after that? If we haven't been selling product, that's not being built. All the new Canadians that are coming to Canada that want to live in the Greater Toronto area, they're going to have no roof overhead. They're going to have no place to go.
Yeah.
The new product has been the rental product.
Yeah.
That is, so if you're new to Canada or you're new to the area and you've moved to Toronto and you want a roof overhead, you arguably rent first before you buy. That product is not going to exist.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. That's a problem.
And this is a problem right now we're having, because a lot of builders are not launching projects. And
that's right.
And the second thing is, I feel like with the rates, a lot of investors aren't even buying right now.
No.
That's another issue.
And that's the thing. It's cause pause, right?
Yeah.
That uncertainty. So herein lies the opportunity.
Yeah.
So if you have call it the mental fortitude, that mental prowess, you say, okay, I'm going to buy now with the anticipation of the rates being 5.5% or 5 points in 3 to 4 years from now when this project is finished. And I'm going to say, but I know that there's going to be a limited amount of product available, which will drive rents higher.
Yeah.
Right? And so that will allow me to carry it, or at least, even if you have to feed it a little bit, that margin's going to be much tighter than what you see today.
That is a key point, because if you actually buy right now, and then this product, there's a lot of products that are not going on the market, but if you're buying right now And 4 years down the road, with the amount of immigration that's coming in, you're going to see the appreciation there.
Guaranteed. That demand, the demand for that as an opportunity, as a rental investment
Yeah.
in the future,
It's
huge,
immense.
huge.
Yeah.
And that's where I think, but you have to have that vision,
Yeah.
right? To say, I get it. I'm going to be okay 4 years from now, as long as you're not stretching yourself. Because I think a lot of people who bought in the last 4 years, they all saw what their best friends were all jumping into the market. They thought they were the fear of missing out,
Yeah.
right? So they're all jumping in and taking home equity lines and things like
Yeah.
that at 1.5, and all of a sudden it jumps to 4%, and like, holy cow, I've got this line of credit now I can barely carry, and now I've
Yeah.
got to come up with a mortgage on this thing. So again, it's just the numbers, the math isn't working.
And that's the issue right now. A lot of people are facing with the closings coming due, because I've seen it right now. They can't even go to the bank to get it because they're so leveraged up on their other investment properties. They can't close on the other one, and that's
right.
why we're seeing so many assignments, and there are good deals on assignments you can buy. I personally think if anyone wants to get in the market and has the cash available, assignment is a good opportunity.
100%.
And it will also give you, in my opinion, that option to not have to get the mortgage right now. Get
Yeah.
something that's like 6 months out. We're dealing with an assignment that's going to be ready, let's say in February. Most likely they're going to close September, October of next year. So hopefully by that time the rates are lower, but you've taken advantage of today's current condition that the prices are lower than what should have been.
Exactly.
And
unfortunately, there are people that need to get out of their investments. They
Yeah.
need, for whatever reason, they just cannot, and so they're doing whatever they can to get out of it. And again, there's opportunity.
Yeah. So let's talk about deals right now with the builders and pre-con. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen right now twice this year, they've done these one-day events. Pivot
Yes.
had one.
Yes.
And there was another one-day event.
Yeah, with a bunch of developers got together.
developers came in. And it was a great scene to be...
It's interesting to see.
Yeah, it was really interesting. Like, I mean, we went there and we were a part of it. And we saw so many developers under one roof, which I had never seen. Like, I don't know if this has happened before. Like,
No.
I had never seen something like that. And I was actually there thinking this should happen more often, because when buyers are coming there, they see different products and they see different offerings. Then they can compare easier. 'Cause
Yes, 100%.
previously, when we're taking people out for pre-con, we have to go to different sites, and it takes a long time.
It does.
Like, it just like, you go to 3 sites, that's an entire day. There, within 2 hours, you see like 20 builders and everything they have to offer. Then you can sit down and make a decision. So that was, in my opinion, one of the best things that came out of this little blip in
Yeah.
the market. That was interesting. What do you think about that?
I think it's interesting. I think it's a bit of a frenzy, right? As I'm sure as you witnessed, right? There's a lot of good deals, a lot of developers with very unique promotions. You want to take it,
Crazy,
and they're saying it's a one-day thing, and
Yeah.
this is what you see is what you get on that
Yeah.
day. And if you wait the next day, you're
not
out,
there,
right?
yeah.
And that's look. There's the benefit of the cooling off period and things like that to do your further due diligence on your purchase. But I like it. But again, I think I want to make sure that people don't get caught up in the hype of it.
Yeah.
Right. And so when you see, like, is it really that good of a deal?
Yeah.
And so it's nice to be able to take a step back and say, hey, you know what? Maybe it's not as good as I thought it was. I should be over here instead.
Yeah.
That's my only concern
Yeah.
about those kind of events.
That's a really good point, because, you over there in the heat of the moment, you see a unit, you get it. But I think the good thing is that 10-day cooling off period, which I noticed for the detached home, it doesn't apply.
It does not apply.
Or even I think freehold towns also, right? Or
That's anything freehold. It does not apply. So
it's
you've got to do your due diligence. So it's done very differently. Where a lot of cases on those freehold product, it's another interesting comment, where a lot of freehold developers who are not working with realtors before, we have all this great access now to all these great freehold sites across the GTA. So which has been a nice plus. But what's really cool is that they will give you the agreement of purchase and sale. Like, it's there, like it's in their assets they provide to us, so you can research the contract, take you to your lawyer before you actually sign it. Because once it's signed,
it's done.
You bought it.
Yeah, so this is a really good point to keep in mind. The cooling off period for pre-construction condos, you have 10 days to review it. You'll have your lawyer review it, you look at everything, and either there's something wrong with the contract, which your lawyer can request to get it changed, maybe add some caps, add some, whatever incentives you want, reduce some of these closing day costs and whatnot. You can talk about it. The other thing also to consider is that for whatever reason you change your mind, you can still return it. There's no
Yeah, within those 10 days.
within those
It's 10 days straight. It's not 10 business days. It's 10 days in a row.
Yeah. From the time it's signed by both parties, you got 10 days. And that is a benefit. So if you go to any of these sites, you sign it, then it's good. But keep in mind, for freehold pre-construction, this is not applying. If you sign a detached house and it's signed there, it is binding and you cannot back out of it. So that is a misconception that I've seen a lot of people ask. You know, I'm going to buy a detached house, let's say up in Bradford, Barrie, whatever it is.
You can't think about it.
Yeah, like once it's signed, it's done. So it's not like condos.
It's like buying any other resale house, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Without any conditions.
Yeah, so that's the whole thing. In terms of promotions, like what are we seeing right now?
I think one of the more popular ones is this leaseback guarantee, where the developer is guaranteeing a certain price per rentable square foot back on closing. So you'll get a credit. In most cases, it's a credit on closing, but the idea is that credit will cover, I believe it's 1 or 2 years of rental guarantee. Upfront. And I've heard of one downtown project, I think they're offering up to as high as $6 or $7 a square foot of rent, where I think the going rate right now downtown is about $4 to $5.
Wow.
Right? So there's some great incentives like that. It's essentially designed as a cash back on closing, but they're calling it a rental guarantee. So you know on closing date with the developer, you are going to get a credit on closing or a cash back, whatever it might be, to cover you for those next 2 years, on top of the rent you're going to get from renting out your unit. So
that is crazy. So you can still rent it out and you still get the cash.
That's
correct.
Yeah, you still get the credit.
And then on top of that, I've seen like, you know, the cap charges, levies, those are normal right now.
Those are normal. You'll see like Midtown Toronto, you're seeing that on 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, the cap's around $18,000. It's like, whoa, 18,000 sounds like a lot. It's at the end of the day, when you actually go further afar into the 905 areas, they actually get even higher. Just the fact just the way their markets work, so to speak.
Amazing, yeah. So in terms of the promotions, if you are in the market to buy pre-con, first of all, like look at what you're buying, see if the prices make sense. But there are good promotions that you can take advantage of, and a lot of the builders right now that have leftover inventories, actually, I've seen like they're doing really good deals on what's left.
This is it. Like you'll have to put down a very limited, especially the standing inventory stuff, or even ones that have launched fairly recently. Maybe they've been selling for 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
You'll see their deposit structures drastically change, where you don't have to come up 5 to 10% rather than the usual 15 to 20 over the 2-year span.
Yeah.
So that's been obviously really attractive, and that's real. That's a real benefit of buying new construction. You don't have to come up with that 10 to 20%. You only have to come up with that, that stretched right up front. You come up with that 15% in most cases over a 2 to 3 year period of the construction cycle of the project.
See, that's really amazing. Just I know a lot of people have this question, why would you want to buy pre-con as opposed to buying resale?
And that's it. We hit it right there. I think a big component of it is the deposit structure.
Yeah.
It's those who are looking really to grow their net worth.
Yeah.
I think really understand the benefit of real estate, the security of investing in real estate, and not having to put up all this cash up front.
Yeah.
Right? And the risk is extremely limited. Rather than going to the public markets, buying a stock or something like that can be volatile.
Yeah.
But it's something, you can go, you can touch and feel. At the end of the day, you're handed a deed. You own it. It is yours.
Yeah.
And you control it.
Yeah.
To a certain extent, right? The market has control, just as it controls the values of companies and things like that as well, if you're buying stocks and bonds and all that kind of crazy stuff. But I think you can go and you can actually touch and feel it. And as we touched on earlier, the longer you own it, the better the resolve. It's just having that kind of grit to say, I get it, and I'm going to put a little bit down now. It's going to be built over the 4 years.
Yeah.
And then in 4 years, I close, I put a tenant in, I can own it for the rest of my life and pass it on to future generations.
That is the key. And also, I think the whole leverage point of it, because let's say right now with 10, 15%, you can lock down, let's say, $1 million unit.
Yeah.
And the appreciation on the product is going to be on the whole $1 million. So let's say $1 million goes up over the next 4 years, let's just say goes up by 10%. Some projects, you've only put 10%. So over 4 years, you've almost doubled your original
You've doubled
deposit.
your money. That's right.
And that's what 20.
That was the good old days.
Yeah.
Back in the early 2000s, right? Between 2000 and arguably 2010, where you weren't buying future value.
Yeah.
New construction was actually less than what resale was. So you would essentially put your deposit down, and it would honestly double by the time you actually close in 4 years. Now that all bets are off now. It's all gone. But
Well,
that
I mean,
was a
like
good-
right now, like I mean, like I don't know. I'm not talking about like today's actual projects, but like let's just say right now I'm seeing a lot of good deals at Peter and Adelaide,
yes,
and I'm looking at the purchase prices. These were like 2017, 18 purchase prices. They were all below $1,000 a square foot. People are assigning they're still making money. They're selling them for really cheap prices, but they're
Yes.
still making money. That goes to show if you pick the project right, I think there's still opportunity.
100%. I think it makes it, and that's what's so important. When you have 40 projects launching this fall, there will be projects, unfortunately, that are not successful. Like where they may be over the long term, but in the short term,
And with successful, we mean for the purchaser if they don't do their research. I mean, like the
100%.
builder has advertised it so well that they're commanding that premium. But if you're looking to get out of it in 5 years,
The builder is motivated to get their shovel in the ground.
Yeah.
So they have to sell it in order to sell they have to sell approximately 80% of their units, 70, 80% of the units in order to get their builder financing in place to put the shovel in the ground to do what they got to do to complete the project, right? So if they can't sell it, it means like anything, it's overpriced.
Yeah.
Right? So they have to price it right, and that's what we're seeing now. Projects that are coming to market in the next, say, 30 to 60 days, the meetings I've had, we're seeing them priced well. Now, they never really tell us until the official launch date, but we're seeing them priced well and competitively.
great. Why is the prices in pre-con so different than resale?
Great question. It really has to do with the cost of building, the cost of the financing now, and everything that goes along with building these projects. It's the way the market has transformed itself.
Because mostly, like again, like the cost of construction has gone up drastically. I mean, like we're looking at it like pre-COVID till now. I mean, I got clients that are renovating a home, hardwood prices of like tripled. Right now. So, because we get this question a lot. Why is it so expensive? Like, listen, it costs way more right now to build than 4 years ago. So this is why the difference is.
The replacement value in a lot of homes, right? You can't replace it anymore. Which is crazy, right? And you're like, what happened? And like through COVID and the supply chains all got broken down. Now, as we all know, prices don't tend to go down. They only go up when it comes to supplies and things like that as well. But in talking to a lot of developers, they're seeing now prices of materials, price of labor. These things now, have flattened out a little bit. They're not seeing the appreciation of those. So of those things. So it allows them now to sharpen their pencils, as we talked about, and to make it more competitive in the marketplace.
So what are the couple of projects you would say it's going to be an exciting one coming into this fall and winter?
Great question. I'm loving Park Road in Yorkville. It's it's not in the heart of Yorkville. It's just on the edge. You're a 2-minute walk to the subway. Anything close to the transit line is a home run. You've seen downtown projects launch in the 1800s per square foot. This is not going to be anywhere near that. So again, it's a very unique building they're calling it a modern take on a Flatiron building. Yeah, it is a stunning building. And the developer behind it, Capital Developments, are second to none. They really entered the market with a splash. They've built some phenomenal buildings that have been
buildings are beautiful.
Beautiful, very successful, always very unique. And I've got to know the guys that are running the company, and they've got a real passion for it. And they are looking to build great product. They're not looking to gouge people and work every little nickel out of every corner. They're going to build a great product, and it's a win-win. And this is what you want to see in any situation. It's a win for a client, and it's a win for developer.
They've been doing a lot of new development, like Capital, like Yonge and Eglinton. They did a lot, and downtown.
Up at Yonge and Shepherd, and
it's crazy.
Yonge and Steeles, and there's even more in the pipeline that's coming.
Amazing, good for them. Any other projects you would?
We've got Q Tower downtown as well by Lifetime. Really unique project.
That's really nice.
That's right now the site is a 4-story, 8-story parking deck right now. So
I saw that.
Very unique project going up right along the waterfront.
Waterfront, beautiful water views.
It's going to be stunning. I mean, for a downtown project, it's going to be second to none. And there hasn't been one of this caliber I can't remember how many stories it is. It's going to be massive, right? But very unique, great opportunity for a downtown investment.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, you guys heard it. So if you are in the market to buy pre-con, there are still opportunities out there. There are some great projects coming. You got to see what's right for you. Anything else to add?
I just want to, honestly, Nima, it's been great to work with you.
Thank you.
And I got to say, the way you communicate to your clients, you provide them with great information. I can't stress enough, you got to talk to this guy. Pre-construction, resale, you name it.
Thank you.
He's got his eye on the pulse, his thumb on the button.
Thank you. So here's another episode of The Real Talk. We had Jeff Slightham heading the pre-construction team, and we look forward to seeing you guys on the next one. Before you leave, make sure to click the link above for the last episode with Jazz Takar to look at that, and there were some good nuggets in there. We'll see you next time.